All right, all right, all right. What's going on, everyone? It's Monday, so y'all know what that means. It is time for Nerdcamp Sports. We are here. Clint Capella just returned to Houston here, I'm seeing.
So much to cover, man.
So we're here waiting for R&B. Should be here momentarily. But how are you feeling today, brother?
Man, feeling excellent, feeling great. Fired up about the free agency market, fired up about what's going on. But I will be honest with you, I'm not happy with the recent moves the Nets made. But we'll get to that later.
Oh man.
Uh,
Oh man, I mean, hey, listen, not every team's gonna make the move that you want, or you know, or that you feel is best for the team. As a fan, it's hard to be a fan.
yeah, it really is.
It's really, the Nets have been, kind of like in disarray. Their whole conception. I mean, they had the time, back when J Kidd, Kmart, RJ, they had enough to play well, but they didn't have
Yeah,
enough to ever win
right.
the
Yeah,
big.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Nets had its glory years, like you said, in the early 2000s with J Kidd, Kmart, Kerry Kittles, you know, Keith Van Horn, those days, right? When they was playing in New Jersey. They had a
Yep.
great squad. They had a championship winning team. Richard Jefferson on the team. They found talent in the rough. And they acquired talent that were veterans that knew how to win. Like Jay Kidd and also Vince Carter. However, since being in Brooklyn, it's been a very, very rough ride. But one thing I will give them credit, they always swung for the fences. They always tried to bring in great players. They reached out to Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving reached out to Kevin Durant, and they end up teaming up together. And it was unfortunate that there was injuries that happened, and them bringing on James Harden didn't really fit well, and then of course he wanted out. But I will give them credit. They at least tried. They at least try to go out there and acquire the best of the best talent while they're still hot.
Right.
It's just unfortunate that it didn't ever really work, even with the KG and Paul Pierce and Derek Williams. I mean, Devin Williams era. D Will's era. Excuse me. It's like we got a lot of superstars that played in the New Brooklyn Nets jersey, but it's unfortunate none of it works out.
I think we've just seen with the NBA Finals that building super teams isn't always the answer.
Yeah.
Trading for one piece like SGA,
Mm-hmm.
building the rest through the draft could be the way to go.
Right.
So the Nets have done this twice and have
Mhm.
failed.
Horribly. Yeah.
And I would say, arguably, the second failure was bigger than the first one
Yes.
because there was more pressure. We
I
knew
agree.
KD and Paul Pierce were done. KD and Kyrie were in their primes.
Right.
KD wanted to win with a team on his own. He
Mhm.
did not do that. But since we're on it, we'll start there. So, what the hell is it? MJP has gone to the net. And let me see what it was exchanged for. I'm not sure. Did
You want me to
remember?
tell you? Yes. Michael Porter Jr. traded for unprotected picks, 30-32, and a first round picks from the New York Nets. I mean, the Brooklyn Nets for and Cam Johnson.
Cam Johnson, that one hurts.
That's why I'm mad.
I'll let you go
That's
first.
why I'm mad. Yeah, no, I'm not going to be long at all. I just want to say I understand where the Brooklyn Nets are right now. The Brooklyn Nets are in a position of rebuild stage. When they drafted not one, not two, not three, but 4 first-round picks. Okay, I already knew we was in a rebuild. But I will say this: I had high hopes for Cam Johnson. I knew that he wasn't really happy in Brooklyn. I know there was a lot of feelings towards him not playing for a team that's not a winning team like like the Phoenix Suns when he was on that team, and I get it. However, I do feel like they could have kept him and made him the main star. Here's somebody that's 20 points a night scorer. He's one of the best, and he's still young. He's one of the young stars that was on the team, and I feel like if they would have kept him and potentially brought in, like, let's say, a couple young stars or young up and coming stars, I don't know, some free agents out there. I can't think of one right off the top. But if let's say Colin Sexton, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
Colin Sexton, we know he's not a all-star, but he's a potential all-star if he gets in the right situation. He goes to Brooklyn. He could easily score about 15 or 20 points a night, put up about 6 to 7 assists a night, and end up being a reserve all-star next season because the East is wide open. So with all that being said, I just feel like the Brooklyn Nets are getting rid of all the bad contracts. They're trying to rebuild, and they're looking to make this team more of a quote-unquote OKC international team. And I know it's a copycat league, Mike, and I know you probably got a lot to say about that. But just hear me out on this.
Okay.
SGA, like we mentioned before, even though he's of course black, he's Canadian, right?
Right.
Lou Dort, Canadian. Who else is on that team that's not from the U.S.? There's a few. There's quite a few. His father's from Germany, right? There's a lot of team members on the OKC team that is young and international. And I point that out because they're more coachable. So I think that's the direction the Nets are going. And I know it's a long road ahead. That's all I got to say about that.
Well, there was another issue, too. You lost D'Lo as well.
Yeah, today. To the Dallas Mavericks for nothing.
Yep, you know. So when I look at the Nets now, it's an issue because you've given up so much or lost so much in a sense. You've taken on a player who we know his injury history is a problem.
Yeah.
We know. Michael Porter Jr.
Okay. Got you.
Yep.
We know his injury history. We know that when it's back, he's out.
Yeah.
Now, essentially, he's now your center. He's your main guy. I know that Denver's worried about that second wall or whatever they call it.
Second curtain.
Yeah, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they made this move.
Mm-hmm.
But doesn't help them. At least right now. Who knows what they'll get for the picks or pick? And what was it, Cam Thomas?
30-32 pick for 20-32. I said 30-32. Oh my God. Might as well.
It was Cam Johnson.
Yeah, it was for Cam Johnson. And they gave him an unprotected first round pick for him.
You know, yeah. I mean,
That's a suspect move by Denver. Denver, don't you think?
well, that's the other part of it.
It could, yeah.
Because
But I want to hear your take when you're done, Mike. I want to hear R&B's take on that. Why you feel that way? Because I do kind of question it.
I mean, you have their GM implying trading 15. So let's put that into perspective. If you're talking about trading, arguably the best player in the league, depending on how you look at it, that lets me know the whole team's expensive. For you to bring that up and say, we don't want to trade 15, lets me know everyone. That's number one. Number two, you let Russ go. That looks like that's a forbidden or a foregone conclusion. I think he played some good ball for them. So now you have Murray and you have Joker. You need a third guy. Because once again, we know Murray, his injury history too. And that means if he goes down, it's all on Joker. Bad move for them, in my opinion. Go ahead, R&B.
My bad. I'm kind of muting in and out because the brother just got off work and I'm hungry. But real quick. So I agree with you, Mike, because for a second, when I first came in, I thought you were basically saying that you felt like the trade didn't bode well for Brooklyn. Like you know what I'm saying? I thought that's the angle you were going with, but I agree with you. To me, it's a suspect move for Denver because Michael Porter Jr., he came into the league, like when Denver drafted him, I don't think they drafted him at that time with the expectations of him being the third dude. When he got drafted, he was drafted to be one of the guys. Because that's what his talent level and potential was. But like you said, with the back injuries, that kind of I'm sorry, I'm hearing a bad echo. Is somebody like rewatching it?
No.
Okay. No. I'm hearing a terrible echo. But anyway, my bad. You know, with the back injuries, that definitely made him, and not only the back injuries, but the emergence of Joker becoming one of the best players in the league and Jamal Murray already being solidified as a bona fide star guard at the time. He ended up having to take a back seat. I think this bodes well for him because it finally gives him an opportunity to be number one option. And now we'll get a chance to, you know, kind of truly see, you know, what he maybe, you know, what he's made of a little bit there. So as far as with Denver, unless you telling me Cam Johnson about to turn back into the dude that was with Phoenix when they went to the finals, I don't know. I don't know the significance of making this move. You basically just replaced role-wise, not talent-wise or skill-wise, but role-wise, you basically just replace Michael Porter Jr. with Michael Porter Jr. Because that's all you probably gonna want Cam Johnson to do is get up and spot up and shoot.
I need you to go out and come back in because I muted your mic. Your echo stopped.
All right.
So give that a shot. Like now, you see it's gone.
Yeah.
Mic, and then so I just
you know what? I wonder is he not wearing his headphones today? Because sometimes I think that when you don't have on headphones, or whatever the case may be, or using a microphone.
Yeah, as you were talking, it was just getting worse and worse. So I might see if it was him. Because I couldn't even, the echo was so bad, I couldn't even make out what you were saying.
Damn.
Yeah, it was like echo on top of echo. So that way we give that a shot because it was minimal before, and then it was just like, oh, well, I'm by myself. All right,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I lost R&B. I don't know where he went, but I was just like, I had to see. That's why I went out for a second, see if it was me, and then I muted him, and then I muted you. So, all right, hold on. Okay.
What happened? It just kicked me out.
But hey, now we're here. So okay, I'm sorry. I don't know if you remember where you were, but now the echo's gone. It was driving me nuts because I couldn't even make out what you were saying at all because it was you were saying it and the echo was right over it.
No, okay. Well, basically to sum it up, at the end of the day, all I was really saying is that I do agree with you. I feel like it's not a great move, but dare I say, maybe a step in the right direction, depending on what you can get out of for the Brooklyn Nets, depending on what you can get out of Michael Porter Jr. I'm not going to say that it's a horrible move for Denver. I'm just saying that I feel like they replaced Michael Porter Jr. with Michael Porter Jr.
So
because,
you're saying pretty much they took a player that does the same thing. They're not a player that upgrades them or makes them better.
well, and you probably didn't hear me because of the echo, but I tried to preference when I said that role wise, they replaced him, Michael Porter Jr. with Michael
Okay.
Porter Jr. role wise, because I think talent is in potential level, Michael Porter Jr., in my opinion, is miles above Cam Johnson. No knock to Cam, he can play, but I think potential and wise or whatever, Michael Porter Jr., like I said, he was drafted to be one of the guys or the guy. Cam Johnson, not so much. And like I said, if he's not going to return to the Cam Johnson that helped Phoenix get to the finals, I don't really see where Denver, you know what I'm saying? Because you already have a Cam Johnson type big man with Aaron Gordon. So I don't really see where you're going with this. You're bringing in another lackadaisical defender, which we all know you need wing and perimeter defenders. He can shoot the three. He's not a good defender. He's not the best rebounder. He's gonna be Michael Porter Jr. again for them. He's just gonna be a spot up 3-point shooter. So at this point, it's like, but on the other end with Brooklyn, you're bringing in a guy that now is gonna have the chance to be the number one option, or maybe number two next to Cam Thomas when he's healthy, so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? There you have it.
Mm, it's interesting. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. So, um, we definitely got a lot here as I look at the list. But I want to talk about this. Oh, Brooke Lopez is going to the Clippers, 2 years, $18 million. That just popped up from Bleacher Report. But I wanted to talk about. And I'm gonna let you go first, R&B, because I want to make sure we get this in.
Mhm.
Tracy McGrady had some rather absurd comments on First Take this week. Just I had to watch it twice because I couldn't believe what I was hearing. He said pretty much he never had a team that he could win the NBA Finals with. That he never had the opportunity to win the NBA Finals with. I have a take, but because you wanted to talk about this R&B, I'm gonna let you go first.
You sure about that?
You wanted to bring the topic up. You wanted to discuss it, so
Yeah, we want to hear it.
All right. I'll go first. Give me 10 seconds. Not even 10.
Do what you
I'll
do.
go first, though. You know what time it is, Mike.
I'm sure we're gonna
You,
agree on this one though.
you know what time it is.
Yeah.
Tracy McGrady. I can definitely say that Tracy McGrady is one of my top 5 favorite players to watch in NBA history.
You said he
Like,
is or he isn't?
definitely is
Okay.
one of my top 5 favorite players that I've ever watched in NBA history. Definitely was one of the ones that I took a clinging to. Not as high as Vince, his cousin, which is my number 2 favorite. Not as high as Kobe or Jordan or some others, but he's up there as far as
He's
excitement.
entertaining, definitely.
Yes, definitely, it was a hell of a talent. I don't disagree with him that while during his tenure in Orlando, during the whole stint there, what was supposed to be best player on the team and Grant Hill was not there. I don't disagree with him on that. I give him that pass. Where I don't agree with him is when he started saying all of the things about ring culture and it, you know what I'm saying, does it diminish and all of that. No, it when you don't have a ring, it does not diminish who you were personally or as far as your skill, your talent, and whether you were out cold. If you were cold, you were cold. We've had plenty of greats who were cold as hell: Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, Stockton, just to name a few, who never won titles, but we know what they could truly do on and off the court. Tracy McGrady would be another one of those guys, in my opinion. We know what he could do on and off the court, right? But where I disagree with him is he started making these comparisons saying that, oh, if you put me, you should replace me with Kobe, you know what I'm saying? Am I not good enough to, win a championship? Do I not win at least 1 or 2 championships next to Shaq? And I have to agree. I think if you put Tracy McGrady there instead of Kobe, I do think that the Lakers probably could win 1, maybe 2. Do they do a 3-peat? Debatable. You know what I'm saying? Because T-Mac he was cold. But he was also a choke artist. And
You're breaking up bad.
hello?
Yeah,
You were breaking
it's
up
breaking
real
up.
bad. Like the last 4 or 5 sentences.
Yo,
Can you hear us?
We hear you now.
testing.
Yeah, you're just frozen on the screen.
Testing.
Okay. Now,
Testing.
yep, you seem all right now.
Testing.
Can you hear us?
Testing.
Can you hear us?
Raj,
Yeah, I
Mike.
hear you.
Yep. Can you hear us?
I hear, all right, I hear Raj. Mike, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Mike keep freezing.
Hold on.
I don't know what's going on. Something
I
is
don't
going
know.
on today. This shit is literally not acting right.
I think it's StreamYard. You're back.
All right. Can you hear and see me now?
I can hear you. I can see you.
Okay. All right. Am I still frozen?
No, you look good. It look like everybody's solid. All right. It look like I don't know what's going on, but in the middle of me talking, all 3 of the boxes just went black. It had a buffer in it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, did it?
You were just freezing, like it was choppy. You were talking, so
Yeah,
whatever
it's choppy.
four sentences you said, you started last 4 sentences. We didn't hear them because you were chopping up.
That's so freaking irritating. Man, so y'all pretty much ain't hear nothing I said.
No, we heard you when you were saying about you agree with Tracy McGrady if he played along with Shaq, and then it started getting choppy after that.
Yeah. So whatever you said
So
after that, we didn't hear.
okay, so what I was basically saying was that we're on the part, which I'm pretty sure y'all both seen the video, saying that I shared to the chat. On the
Right.
part where T Mac was saying that had he played, if you replace him with him and Kobe, does he not, is he not good enough to win at least one or two or whatever next to Shaq? I said I do agree. I think that if you replace him with Kobe, I do agree that I feel like they may win one or two with him next to Shaq because he was that great of a player. But does his style of play fit that three-peat Lakers the same way Kobe's style of play did? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. That's to be debated and talked about or whatever the case may be. But I don't think that they would three-peat. And the reason why I was saying before it had messed up is that let's not forget T Mac was a bit of a choke artist when the playoffs came around. Being a Detroit native, I remember sitting here in Detroit back in 2000, I think it was 2001, in the first round of the playoffs. T Mac had us down 3-1, and we all thought the series was over. We thought this series was over. And then Tayshaun Prince came to life. He started
Mm-hmm.
playing some of the most amazing defense on Tracy McGrady. Tracy was still getting it, don't get me wrong, but Tayshaun Prince was making things difficult for him. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't coming as easy as it had come in the first 4 games or so. And he blew a 3-1 lead, and the rest is history. The Pistons went on and started their dynasty, won the champ. Well, they
That's
not dynasty, but they run of going to where we won the championship and we went to, I think, 6 or 7 Eastern Conference Finals straight in a row or
he was
whatever.
on.
Not a dynasty.
That's when he was on the Magic, McGrady.
Yeah, that was when he was
Okay.
playing with Orlando. That was
Okay.
when he was with Orlando. Now, let's fast forward a little bit. I disagree with him also that he never had an opportunity to have a championship team assembled around him, and that he simply just holds the fact that Orlando didn't get Tim Duncan that year, and that Grant Hill came in and got hurt as a reason to say that he never had an opportunity to win a championship. If you looked at the slide, the slides of the meme that I sent you guys the other day, you look at those damn teams and you tell me, first of all, that Orlando team, I don't think Kobe blows a 3-1 lead to Detroit. I think he finishes us off. Also, I think that just as well as T Mac was able to get that Orlando team to the playoffs, I think Kobe could have got that team to the playoffs. Now, this is where we separate. Do you guys think, this is a question? Do you think from what we shared in the chat the other day, if you looked at it,
Mm-hmm.
if you swap Kobe on that, I forgot what year that was. I think that was '08 or '09 Houston Rockets team with Rafer Austin,
Mm-hmm.
Ron Artest,
Mm-hmm.
Yao Ming, still at the
Mm-hmm.
tail end of his prime, beat up, but still at the tail end of his prime.
Mm-hmm.
Who else was on that team? I think Luis Scola,
Yep.
and it's like one or
I
two
think
more that I'm missing. If
Shane Battier
say,
was on that team. Oh,
But
I'm
real
trying.
quick,
Go ahead.
I want to say this real quick. We don't even have to even go that far down in T Mac's career with the Rockets. Let's talk about that 2004-2005 team
what's
Mm-hmm.
real
wrong
quick.
with this shit?
Okay, I'm gonna name some names,
Right.
but I'll let R&B finish though. Go ahead, R&B.
My bad, man. I don't know what's wrong with this shit, but I'm gonna be quick. Just the question. I'm gonna get straight to the question. If you swap those two teams that I was just talking about, the 2010 or the 3 in a row finals, but won 2 out of 3 finals, Paul and Kobe, Lakers, if you swap Kobe and T-Mac out, do you think Kobe could still get that Houston Rockets team to the finals? And do you think T-Mac could get that Lakers team to the finals? I don't think he could, and I think Kobe could. And I'm sorry, I know I'm wearing the jersey. I know it can come
I
across a
agree.
bit biased at times because I'm a big fan, but sometimes it's not about fanmanship, it's about what I watched and what I saw and what I knew these brothers were capable of.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead, Raj. You had something you wanted to say, and then I'll chime in after.
Right. Well, first I want to just answer R&B's question. I agree. Kobe could have brought those teams right to the championship and won it with the Rockets team. And I don't think Tracy McGrady could have done anything with those Lakers team
Yeah,
that
now
Kobe
Raj
played on.
crazy
I
about
don't
that.
care who's on the team because this can you hear me? You guys hear me, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I hear you. You just you buffered for a quick second, but I hear you.
Yeah. So okay. So what I'm saying is this Kobe slander got to come to an end because the man's not even here to defend himself. It's got to come to an end. We can pick and choose debates, which is fun, but we can't keep doing these type of debates or allowing these guys to get away with these debates online because there's a lot of stuff that's just absolutely, in the words of Stephen A. Smith, in the words of Skip Bayless, or one of those guys on First Take back in the days, he says ASA 9, ASA 10, ASA 11, ASA 12. It's crazy. Okay? It's crazy. I'm going to read to you real quick. The 2004-2005 Houston Rockets team, okay? That was 51-31 on the regular season, right?
Good record.
With the record, okay? Made it to the playoffs, obviously. I'm going to read some names off that played with T-Mac. We got Ben Baker. Okay? We got Juwan Howard. We got Dikembe Mutombo. We got Yao Ming. This is 2004, 2005. I know what y'all thinking. Well, they was out of their prime. No.
No, I'm not thinking that at all.
Most of these dudes can still play. Ben Baker at that time was putting up numbers. Juwan Howard, still in his prime. Trace McGrady, obviously in his prime at that time. Dikembe Mutombo, still a defender. And you had one of the all-time greats, top 75 players of all time. You had 3 on your team. Well, 2. You played alongside with 2. You played along with Yao Ming and you played along with Dikembe Mutombo. Tell me how this is unfair. It doesn't make any sense. See, people start narratives and they just run with it. If he was on the Lakers, I guarantee you he wouldn't have won a championship. Because like you just said, R&B, he's a professional choke artist, especially when it comes down to those moments that really matter. Because guess what? I remember the 2004-2005 Rockets very vividly because I was a fan. I wasn't a fan of like an actual team, but I was a fan of T-Mac, right?
Yeah.
And I remember they got knocked out by the Dallas Mavericks in the first round.
In the first round.
So I don't want to hear nothing T-Mac says from now on because for him to say that about Kobe is disrespectful because, yes, he won those championships with Shaq. But what about the championships he won with Pau Gasol?
Exactly.
Okay? He was playing with a makeshift team. He had one all-star on his team, which was Pau Gasol. The rest of the dudes were either too young or they was too old to play. And at this point,
I give you a slight pushback. Slight.
Okay, that's fine.
Let's put some respect on Lamar Odom. Let's put some respect on the two good years that Andrew Bynum gave them.
Which is facts. I did forget about Andrew Bynum being on the team. But you're right. Lamar Odom was on the squad, but once again, it wasn't a team they had projected to win in the championship. That's my point.
No,
they did not project these teams to win. And Kobe, with the likes of, like you said, Pau Gasol and also Lamar Odom, carry these guys into the promised land and won it. Not once, but twice. See, and this is the type of stuff I'm talking about.
While going
As much
straight and losing in 7 to Boston the first year.
Exactly. So this kind of stuff that they do with this talk about ring culture, and they don't have any rings, I don't want to hear it. Because Gilbert Arenas can say whatever he wants. He never won a championship. T-Mac can say whatever he wants. He never won a championship. So this ring culture is not overrated to people who won rings. Haven't you noticed? The only person complaining about it are people who didn't win a ring and LeBron James. I rest my case. That's all I want to say.
The dude who still chasing the ghost in LeBron James.
Exactly. And that's the only reason why he's complaining about it, because he knows that he can't get that 6th ring for nothing. Because he jumped from team to team. Yeah.
Real quick before Mike go. Real quick. The separator is that when you're great, your greatness, especially in the sport of basketball, your individual greatness is supposed to be able to be what gets your team over the hump into the promised land. That's how you prove your greatness. So when we do compare others and say, oh, Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley was phenomenal, but he wasn't as fucking phenomenal as Michael Jordan because he couldn't raise himself to that level. It's levels to this shit.
Totally. Yep.
And y'all both left out a very important part.
What's that?
T-Mac need to sit up here and act like Ron Artest by himself without Yao or him almost took that team to the finals.
Yep.
T-Mac got hurt. Yao was hurt. You know what separates Tracy McGrady and T-Mac? That Kobe, unless he physically could not go on the floor, he was out there.
Mm-hmm.
Your Rockets won the Western Conference Finals. Ron Artest showed up and balled out. You wasn't there. Yao was there. And I believe it went to Game 7. I can't remember.
It did. It went 6 or 7. I want to say we might be on it with 7. And then the very next year was when Ron Artest went to join Kobe and won.
Yeah.
And that team is right here. If you put Kobe on that Rockets team, they win the championship. You put T-Mac
at least West Conference Final.
Exactly. And the fact that T-Mac didn't bring up the 2 rings with Paul Gasol was the disrespectful part. You only acknowledge them. I believe Kobe won those other 2 rings harder because you didn't have Shaq. You didn't have that definite dominance because early 2000 Shaq was one of the greatest things I ever seen.
Right.
Yeah.
Didn't have Shaq. Didn't have that dominance slow down. You know, Bynum played well, but he ain't Shaq. Al Gasol's not Shaq. Like, you won with those. So for you to even put your name in the stratosphere of Kobe Bryant, how dare you? How dare you?
Mm-hmm.
You don't even deserve to breathe the same air as that man breathed. And he's unfortunately not here with us anymore.
Exactly.
So you be upset all you want, but if you could have stayed healthier in your career, you might have won one. And then when you were healthy, you were knocked out the first round. I remember that series Ron Artest took them to the Western Conference Finals. The announcer said, well, they showed McGrady. And they were like, this is the first time he's been out of the first round. Does it count? Because he ain't play. Your team played better without you. Make that make sense. Like R&B said, you're supposed to be the cornerstone or the piece that gets your team there. You were James Harden before James Harden.
Yep.
And hell, even that nigga's been to the Western Conference Finals and the finals.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I gotta say.
And Gilbert Arenas deserves some of that smoke too. I know I said it in my take, but I gotta reiterate that he deserves some of that smoke too, because he's been saying the most egregious stuff about Kobe. That's like it's to the point. It's disrespectful. It's disrespectful. I don't like that.
Because he ain't here to defend himself, like you said. And I know the type of nigga Gilbert Arenas is. He's the type of nigga that'll sit up and he'll try to defend himself and say,
like,
saying, yeah, I never went to the finals, or I never did this or that because I was playing with, eggs and barbecue chips. You know what I'm saying? For lack of a better way of thinking of how to say it, you know what I'm saying? He would play that game. So again, like I said, it's levels to this shit. You LeBron Dick Rider, Gilbert Arenas. Everybody want to give LeBron credit for taking Cleveland to the finals in 07 when they got swept by San Antonio by saying he carried a bunch of bums, which I don't agree. It was a bunch of bums. He had some solid players on that team. Wasn't the best team to get to the finals. I'll give him credit for that, but he had some solid players on that team. But again, if he could raise his levels to get his team to the finals, then Gilbert Arenas, Hibachi, Agent Zero, why couldn't you? Why couldn't you?
Exactly.
And that's why it's levels. That's why ring culture matters.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sorry, I forget which one of you guys said it. I think Raj said it. Was the only players are the ones that don't have rings. And it's mainly 2000s players, right? I don't hear John Stockton complaining. I don't hear Karl Malone complaining. And
no,
I don't hear Barkley complaining. They rag on him for having one, on the show. But I don't hear him complaining.
That's because there was like we were just mentioning. There's levels to it. Karl Malone and Stockton probably had the best run in the West in the 90s, right? Outside of the Los Angeles Lakers. There was always contenders in the early and mid 90s, right? So, I mean mid 90s, late 90s, excuse me. Huh?
Can't forget about Houston. They won back to back in the 90s. In the early 90s.
That is true.
Shit, the mid 94, 95, right?
Yeah. During the time Jordan was out. But my point of bringing them up is that we remember the great games that the Bulls went up against the Utah Jazz, right? The two finals that they went to. Mm-hmm. But Karl Malone and Stockton knew they weren't better than Jordan. They knew the Chicago Bulls was going to whoop their ass. And the crazy thing is this. Even though they lost in the finals, they got mad respect because they put up a damn good fight. But when you get people,
they fought hard
every time. It wasn't like they just gave up or it was like, whatever, they're gonna kick her. No, they went out there and they battled. Like it was a real battle. Like you remember him shooting over Brian Russell, like Jordan shoot over Brian Russell. That was real. That happened in real time. So I say that because those players in the 90s, they don't have time to complain about it because they put it all on the line. But you got people who grab mics and want to podcast like these athletes, like Draymond Green and Gilbert Arenas and Podcast P. All these guys want to grab a mic and then give their narrative and say, well, this could have happened if we did this, but it didn't happen, bro. T-Mac, you didn't play with bums. You played with great teammates. In fact, you played with some Hall of Famers. Dikembe Mutombo is one of the top 75.
He played with some bums in Orlando, though. He played with some bums in Orlando.
Well, yeah, he did. And Toronto, too. But I'm talking about in his prime and being the man.
I ain't gonna count Toronto. He was young, barely playing. Yeah, I don't count Toronto. I even though he had a short stint there because they drafted him. When I think of T-Mac, coming into his prime and becoming T-Mac, I start from Orlando, and then we go to Houston.
True.
And we know he became a journeyman, later on.
Oh yeah.
Kobe would have never been a journeyman.
Never. Never.
Tried to ride his way to a ring. I remember you sitting on that bench in San Antonio with Ray Allen.
That's facts. We was like, yo, T-Mac going to get a ring.
Yeah, I can't stand the Heaters, but sorry for you.
Yo, I forgot. He low-key was trying to get a ring on the low.
He's trying to get that Gary Payton.
No, you can't do Gary like that because Gary played for his. It might have been next to Shaq in them, but he played for that bitch, and he was the starting point guard.
He sure was. He earned it. T-Mac was trying to sneak and get that ring. Oh.
Yo, he was trying on the fly.
He was trying to get the ring on the low. I remember that. He was sitting on the bench looking crazy. We was like, yo, T-Mac's on the Spurs?
He was trying so hard to get that shit like it was nothing.
He tried to get that win. He tried to get that ring quietly. We remember.
He was there.
The camera panned over to him because they really thought they had it.
He was here in Detroit. He played a year here in Detroit. Yep. And I remember watching him on the news, and they was asking him about certain things and asking him, did he feel like he can still go out and be the prolific scorer that he once was? And he was saying, well, we playing in this offense doesn't cause for me to go out and do that or be the scorer that I once was, but I do feel like if I had to, I could go out and score 20 plus a night or whatever the case may be. And I remember sitting there as a Piston fan watching the news when I watched that interview, and I thought to myself, just that. So if you can go out there and put these numbers up there, goddamn it, we need you to do it. Like, what's this do that like for me?
Exactly.
Man. I apologize. I had to get that off my chest today, man. Spitting on.
No, I feel you on that. Like I said, no more tolerating Kobe slander, man, and I mean it. Because Michael Jordan, okay, Mike can get there and he can speak for himself, but Kobe's not here to speak for himself, and I feel like these podcasters are doing that on purpose. They're clout chasing on purpose like that.
But
they be trying to make us think.
Go ahead.
They be trying to make us think that we don't know what we be talking about, or that we don't know what we saw, or what we're watching, just because we never played on their level. Because we've all played some basketball. We might not have played on their level, but we played. We know what the fuck we watching. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're fans of the game, and we play. Like you said, we're competitive. We played. We might not be in a league or made it to a division, but we know what it is. We ain't stupid, but they want us to believe we're stupid.
Like we don't know.
Yeah,
they always do that. Just like that documentary they made about Michael Jackson after he died. Like why? He's not here to defend himself.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, come on, man, that's disrespectful.
Well, I liked that segment. That was a good segment, R&B. I appreciate that.
Yeah, dope.
Absolutely, me too.
There's a lot of.
Appreciate y'all rolling with.
So, Rod, you talked about both of you mentioned LeBron James. So both of you mentioned it. So since R&B went first last time, go ahead, Raj. You were talking about LeBron James opting in to the contract with the Lakers and how it affects the Lakers. What are your thoughts on how to affect the team?
Man, it's just this is why I can't back LeBron, as talented as he is, and as a great of a human being as he is off the court. And I always say that because I don't want people to think I don't like him as a human being. I love him as a human being. You know what I'm saying? I love what he represents. I love that he's about family, and he's a good role model. I'll say that, good example. But when it comes to this on the court and these decisions, he does too much, bro. This man he gets the money, right? He gets the bag, and then he says, "Well, I want to play for a contender." I get it. Him and Rich Paul trying to put pressure on the Lakers front office. However, there's some money that needs to be allocated. Okay, it needs to be moved around, and in order to do that, bro, you're a billionaire. You don't need this money. You don't need this money. You could take a hometown discount at least once in your career, please.
He could have took 20 mil.
He could have took 20 million. I would have settled for 25, 30. This dude takes the whole 45, 50, whatever the case is. But the point is, it put him in a bad situation.
I was about to say 20 million that's a little bit much.
You said 20 million's much?
How much did he take?
You said 20 million's much.
One of us need to go out. Is it?
Hold on.
Because
how much did he take?
I'm delayed.
Hold on. Because y'all can't.
All right. Yeah, I think it's Raj again because I muted him and it's gone. Oh, hold on, Raj. Yep, he's going out and coming back in.
We gonna have to we probably gonna have to have a meeting and try to see if we can find like a alternative.
Yeah.
Outside of StreamYard that we might be able to kind of mess around with.
Yeah, there are a couple other ones out there. There's one called Riverside, Riverstream.
You ever heard of Restream?
Yeah, it's weird. It's a little weird to operate, but maybe I'll look into that.
It is. I actually got a Restream. I think I'm still paying for it. So we might have to have a discussion about that.
Yeah.
All right, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yep.
All right, so real quick, I'm not going to be long. Here we go. 52 years, $104 million. That's $52 million a year, right?
Yeah.
Bro, he could have took a discount for half. 25, I would settle even for 30.
I say 30.
That's fine. 30 million is okay. I'm cool with that. Even though he's a billionaire, he don't need the money, but let's say 30 million, right? That leaves you $20 million a year for your cap space to go out there and find some talent. Now, you're not going to find the top level talent that you want, but at least you get something decent. Okay? Now it's just going to be Luka, LeBron, and who else they got on their team that's signed for next season? That's it.
Austin Reeves.
Austin Reeves is opted out.
Because he gets signed for more after the season.
Yeah, because he's opting in for free agency.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
So they're in a bad situation. The Lakers are already, and you know what? And somebody said this the other day. They said since Jeannie Buss sold the team or sold a huge chunk of the team, watch they go into rebuild mode around Luka and they trade LeBron. I didn't believe it. I was like, nah, there ain't no way they're gonna trade LeBron. Bro, I have a feeling they're gonna go out there and find a deal for LeBron to go play on one of these teams, like the Celtics, or let's say an Eastern Conference team like the Cavs, right? And try to help him get another championship ring in the East. I have a feeling it's coming because this move is so bizarre. How are you going to say, I want to win a championship with this team and then take all the money? You're not even allowing the team to go out there and find talent. Brook Lopez just signed with the Los Angeles Clippers. Do they not need a big man?
Somewhere else too, and he was the one I think that they were eyeing Clint Capella, but he went somewhere else. I don't remember exactly where he signed because I was on the way home when I was seeing the notifications come through.
He
But
went back to the
Clint Capella
Rockets.
signed.
He went
Yeah,
back to
Yep. Okay. Back to the Rockets. Yep. Clint.
yeah, he with the
If
Rockets,
that's
bro.
if you ask me, that's the number one guy they should have been trying to key in on free
Yes.
agency to bring in because he fits next to Luka better than anybody else that was on the free agent market. Clint Capella is definitely a great rim runner. He showed
Yes.
that in his younger days, and he still can do a lot of that. He
And
still can do a lot of that.
he's a great defender. He can give you some blocks.
Yeah,
He can give you some
yeah.
defensive rebounds. What are we
Brooke
doing?
Lopez, I understand why they weren't really,
What are we
that
doing?
older, slower. Al Horford, I understand, a little older, slower. I heard Golden State's
Yeah.
keying in on him, trying to get him. And then who else was out there? They lost Dorian Finney-Smith. He
Dorian
signed.
Finney-Smith is
I
gone.
think
Rockets as
they
well.
lost him.
He's with
Yep,
the
to the
Rockets.
Rockets. The
Mark
Rockets
Williams is
loaded
gone.
up there.
Mark Williams is gone. He's playing for what team did he sign for? He's playing for the Suns. They allowed him to walk right
Yeah,
out after they fought all that time last season to try to go get him. And now he's on the Phoenix Suns. So it just goes to show you like there's so much like hypocrisy there. You want to win a championship, but you take all the cap space, but yet you allowing all these sinners to walk out.
yeah.
Dory Finney-Smith is best friends with Luka. I believe they're best friends because they're really close. They was close since the Dallas team. And just let him walk out, bro.
Mhm.
This team is looking crazy right now. But that was my take on it. That's my take.
You want to go R&B or you want me to go?
I get it out the way real
Go
quick,
ahead.
man.
Yeah, I
I
don't have
pretty
much
much
to say
I
about
got
it either. So
yeah, my sentiments match with Raj for the most part, but in the end, we kind of already hit on it through his statements that where I kind of wanted to go was like who they should have been looking at in free agency and who they've already missed out on, and also losing Dorian Finney-Smith is just it's not a good look.
No.
I don't understand what's going on there, and like you said, I understand LeBron. But maybe settling to take maybe around 30 to get him some wiggle room to shop to build a true contender. But yeah, the 52 that's taking up a large chunk there. And then you talking about trying to re-sign Luca on a new deal and like it's I don't know what they got going on in LA right now, but it might be some truth to that assumption that whoever that was you were talking about that said don't be surprised if LeBron get traded to a contender. It may be some truth there because it's
Yeah,
just looking like a
Brian
blunder.
Windhorst said it. Wendy said it.
Yeah,
and he knows his stuff.
Yeah.
yeah.
I was
And
hoping
the
it was
last thing I would
a
oh
lie,
go
but
ahead.
no, I'm saying I was hoping it was
No,
a lie, but that we know how the NBA rolls.
yeah. Mike, the last thing I'm gonna say though is I seen the report. I don't know exactly who it was because again, a lot of these notos was coming through when I was on my way home from work, and I was trying to get myself prepared for the show and everything. But I
Mm-hmm.
seen a report that said one of LeBron's friends in recent days did an interview on some podcast or something like that, where he was basically saying that he slandered the Los Angeles Laker fans and basically said that they're ungrateful. And I had a couple things I wanted to say about that. No, you are ungrateful. You and LeBron and anybody else that's one of them bronze sexual ball handlers just fucking disgusts me. It's so freaking irritating. Like, we ungrateful, bro. Nobody give a fuck about that bubble championship. No, it ain't no ungrateful. He what has LeBron delivered since he's been in LA? What has he delivered? Besides a little excitement, what has he delivered? I'm sorry, that bubble championship, it got an asterisk next to it, and it is what it is. Motherfuckers took damn near 6 months off.
Mhm.
and then want to come back and try to resume play. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Like that whole shit was that shit was thrown, bro. I'm sorry. So it is what it is. People see it how I see it. Other than that, since he been here, he's provided nothing. So it's like to say someone's ungrateful. I'm tired of all of these narratives of people who only want to see LeBron as the second or third greatest player of all time. To all of a sudden people want to say, "Oh no, you ungrateful or you not respecting this and that." Shut up. Everybody got an opinion, and we all entitled to one.
You know, see the asterisk next to that title is kind of bittersweet. Like from that perspective, I do understand why people want to do that, but it's not like okay. I believe that the other seasons, because of NBA and CBA agreements, should have the asterisk, right? People don't asterize those teams, and that's a league issue between the players and the union, right? But this was a worldwide global pandemic. Now, I ain't taking away from what you said, but there's a difference between the two, in my eyes, because it's not like the players were saying we're not playing. No, the country shut down. They demanded that everything the world stopped.
But
that's the only reason I personally it irks me that people will put the asterisk next to it. And it's not about LeBron. This is just talking about the asterisk in general. But
Mike,
2000 we had a lockout. We didn't put no asterisk next to the Spurs. What was that other season?
Were they off for 6 months?
But Mike,
when did
were they off damn near half the year?
Another season started Christmas Day. Did we asterisk that season? Because if the season ends in June and it starts in December, that's 6 months. There's no asterisk next to that title for that year. That's 6 months. That's half the year.
What are you talking about? No, they're not. But they weren't off. For one, it's not about the fact that it was a pandemic. It's about the fact that the season completely was shut down. Dudes was at home. And then all of a sudden they come with this ideal of let's fly these teams down to this bubble in Florida, resume play it was basically pickup basketball. It was good. It was entertaining, especially for the time. Don't get me wrong. But it's like, dude, we went into pickup basketball damn near 6 months later after the shutdown. That's all I'm saying. Not the fact that I understand that it was a pandemic and shit had to be shut down. I'm just saying, like, I don't know if people really recognize that or respect it as a true NBA championship without the fans and being off so long and resuming a play all the months later and so on and so forth. And outside of that, it's also like, you know what I'm saying? When you look at it and you sum it up, they should have just called it maybe like a tournament championship. Instead of an NBA championship, maybe they should have called it a bubble tournament. You called it the bubble tournament to name a pickup champion or whatever during the pandemic, because just the way shit went, a lot of people just don't really respect it as a true NBA championship, bro. They just don't. And I'm one to say that I believe that AD and LeBron were going to get them at least one. But prior to the pandemic and everything like that, I believe that they were gonna get one. But you know what I'm saying, the way it came was just a little meh.
And I want to add in something real quick, Mike. It's not even about it just being a pandemic. It's the fact that it was a glorified pickup game because there was no fans. There was no home court advantage. It was YMCA basketball with grown-ass dudes that makes millions of dollars. And it was sad because the competition was so nerfed. Go look at some of these stat lines, man. What's my man's name? TJ. What's my man that went off in the bubble?
TJ
Scored like
Warren.
60.
TJ
Warren. Look at his numbers. Look at his numbers. He'll
Yo,
never put
Is
up
he
those
still in the
numbers
league?
ever again. That's what I'm
Is he
saying.
still in the league?
I believe so. But my point is, there's a lot of Nerf numbers in there, man. There's a lot of Nerf stats. There was people that went off for 35, 50 points that never even touched 20 points a game. So it's like you got to look at it for what it is. There was no fans. It was fake crowd noises. They were in one place. They weren't traveling all over. It wasn't like just going from East Coast to West Coast or nothing. There was literally, it was AAU basketball. So, yes, LeBron and AD won it. I give him credit for beating the best teams. But come on, let's keep it real. Those bubble rings, they gotta have an asterisk next to it.
Hey, Raj, they had an NCAA NBA tournament.
Yeah, it was like March Madness.
I didn't get into LeBron itself. You can't sit up here and take the money and then say I want to be on a contender.
Yeah, no.
That's just not going to work. And now with the way the West is and how deep the West is, you guys made the trade and got to number 3 and got gentlemen swept by a team that you should have gentlemen swept, in my personal opinion. The way they were playing going into the playoffs, they should have won that series 4-1, 4-2. And then they just came in and they just got obliterated. Like it wasn't even a contest. So now you look at this team as presently constructed, and I'm not seeing many, these free agents signing with the Lakers. I don't know if you guys seen any today, but I haven't seen any that I can recall.
Me either.
So
I
now
didn't see anything.
That tells me you're going down. You're going into this season once again, LeBron and Luka show. I seen something where they were looking at Clint Capella, but obviously he got signed. Now they're looking at DeAndre Ayton because they need a big man.
I feel like he was the worst fit of all of them. I hate to say it, but I felt like he was the worst fit of all of the bigs that for them to look at. I felt like DeAndre Ayton was the worst fit.
And we got to understand that when it comes to NBA free agency, it happens quick. Like just the deals just happen quick. There's no time. Like, you in the NFL, like free agency opens and then there are players that take their time deciding, some more than others. No pun intended. But damn, it kicked them out again. But yeah, so you really got to jump on it. So as for that portion, I think it is wrong because you're going to go into the season and you're not going to be able to contend with OKC. You're not going to be able to contend. Hell, you might not even be able to contend with Minnesota. You're
not making the playoffs.
Like this isn't good. This is really bad. We know, like, even though Denver made that deal, they're still going to be there come April, right? Who else am I not thinking about? The Rockets are out here making some moves. They're going to be in the mix.
Yeah.
There's obviously the Mavericks there. I mean, yeah, Kyrie is out until, from what I'm reading, the earliest he'll be back is January. But, I think
they picked up D'Angelo Russell.
I think if AD
I know that ain't saying much. But...
Well, no, but what between him and Dinwiddie, and if AD can stay healthy, that's the question mark here.
And they drafted Ryan Nembhard too, the younger than Nembhard brother.
And then with the addition, the drafting of what we all know who was going to go first, Cooper Flagg. I believe that they have enough based on what Flagg can do on the NBA level. And if AD can stay healthy, yeah, you got Dinwiddie and D'Lo. They're not starters, per se. but collectively, by committee, I guess you could say, I believe they have enough to keep their head above water till Kyrie returns. I do expect Dallas Mavericks to be in the mix. So if I'm the Lakers, I'm worried. I'm in trouble, like
Yeah.
big trouble, and they need to really look at this because LeBron's over here saying this, down the third, that they want it. Like, let me ask y'all a question. Why was Tom Brady able to be so dominant for so many years? And we understand the whole, all the ways the Patriots won. But I guess the question I'm asking is, what did Tom Brady do to ensure he had the best talent around him or a team to compete at all times?
He took pay cuts, and then he also married Giselle Bundchen, which made it. She was I think was she a billionaire or some shit like that, or she
She had
had a
more
lot of
money.
money. Where
She had
yeah,
more money than him.
it didn't hurt his pocket at all to take those pay cuts.
He always took the lower money to make sure that they were able to put a team around him to compete because he wanted to be competitive. That's why he was in the fucking Super Bowl so many times. That's why 9, 10 times or whatever. That's
Hey,
why.
Mike,
Huh?
can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
Is that why he was great?
Is that why who was great?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
That being a part of his whole aura, who he was, and so on and so forth. Is that why he was great as well?
I think
Would you say?
it's definitely contributing to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a contribution. We understand that sometimes great players have to make hard decisions, and that's a hard decision to make regardless. Like you're playing every year. You're playing at that time 16 games, and a lot of times you're playing 3-4 playoff games. So I would agree with that take. But LeBron's not willing to do that. And like Raj said, he don't need the money. So, so I do believe that this is going to hurt them very badly. They're not going to be able to sign anyone like they haven't been able to. And, I'm a LeBron guy. I don't agree with everything he does like this. I don't agree with. But I will say that this move right here has, in my opinion, I could be wrong, but as long as he's on the Lakers and he's taking all the money, his championship window is officially closed. It was probably closed already, but now you just ceased it. You just ceased to fire it. Like, there is no way you're winning another one if they can't add pieces. I mean, what's his name? Pelinka's pulled off some crazy stuff. Some crazy stuff with bad rosters and has made it, but you opting in instead of opting out and taking less so they can go out. You could have got Clint Capella. That would have been a good fit for him, in my opinion, defensively at least. Or I mean, I can't say the most for Ayton, but you could have got someone.
Can I play devil's advocate real quick though, Mike?
Yeah.
Because you just said something real interesting. You brought up Rob Pelinka. And I think we all know that I'm not really a big fan of Rob Pelinka. I'm going to just be honest. If you were LeBron, would you want to take a pay cut for a GM like Ron Pelinka? Do you undoubtedly think,
I know what he's saying.
and we all know that if he had to answer this question on the podcast or something, he would lie about it. He would lie about it. But amongst us three, do you honestly think that LeBron has 100% the utmost trust and Rob Pelinka is the Lakers GM? Because I don't.
Not anymore.
Nah.
I don't think he really ever has.
Well,
I don't think
hold
he
on.
really ever has.
So wait, Now, Raj brought up something about LeBron being traded. What
Yeah.
if this is a ploy to make sure LeBron's unhappy so that he wants to be traded, or it gives them an avenue to trade him? Is that a possibility on the table?
So now
I
you're going
mean,
into
I would say
conspiracy
it is.
theory.
I
but
would say
yeah,
it is, but
yeah.
I'll also say it would be a very difficult task moving those type of contracts.
Right.
52 million a year is one of those type of contracts no team want to touch. And in fact, even if he did do this as a way to kind of like, you know, deter him to staying in LA, this is year 23, bro.
Yeah.
He's been in the league longer than most people have been alive in the NBA.
Yo, that's for real.
So I feel like Rob Pelinka is probably going to go down as one of the worst front office guys if he fumbles this thing with LeBron and it don't help him get a ring again. Because remember, LeBron he's entering year 23, right? He's
Yeah.
playing with Luca and he's got no team. This is going to look like the early version of what? The Los Angeles Lakers when they had what's my man's name? With Jordan Clarkson, Jeremy Lin,
Jesus.
and Kobe Bryant years.
Oh,
Carlos
jeez.
Boozer,
Carlos Bruiser.
uh,
Ah,
Lou Will.
Jesus Christ.
those are some dark days for the Lakers. It's coming,
Dark
ladies and
days.
gentlemen. It's coming.
The
So
Slava Medvedinko days weren't even that dark.
ah,
Hey, hold on, look. I got a classic question for y'all. This is a good one. Do y'all remember when Shaq first left and went to Miami?
yes.
Do you remember when Slava Medvedinko was the starting center for the Lakers after Shaq left? In that very first game, he came out and ball. Looked like Paul Gasol himself before Paul got there. And
Uh,
did absolutely nothing else.
He
that was
was
it.
he retired after that. They
He
bought all the
retired
jerseys
after
up and
that.
he retired.
Oh, Jesus. So,
Oh shoot. Oh man, that's
I
hilarious.
know there's still much to cover, but I definitely wanted to get into the Steelers. There's a couple more NBAs I want to hit before we go that direction. And the first one is Malik Beasley. So they're saying that Malik Beasley, they're investigating him for betting. And being R&B, he's on your team. I'll let you go first.
I promise. I swear I'm gonna be short with this. I know I've been saying that, but I swear I'm gonna be short with this. Um, Look, man, I just hope that he's innocent. That's really all I really got for it. I hope that he's innocent. I hope that he not that stupid. Because when I seen that the name of the account is supposed to be Malik Beasley, Detroit 5, I said, "There's no way he that dumb. It's no way. He is. It's no way that brother that dumb, bro. He got to be innocent." So, and I seen the report earlier that who else, somebody else was caught up in a betting thing with the NBA, and he got cleared today. He got cleared. I can't
Was
remember.
it Teddy Rozier?
Terry Rozier, scary Terry. Yep,
Yeah.
he got cleared of his today. So I'm hoping. I'm just hoping for the best with the Malik Beasley situation. I know that contract talks have halted with the emergence of this story, with the legal betting procedures going on. So You know, he's one of the key free agents that I definitely feel like Detroit needs to bring back. So, like I said, I'm just hoping for the best, and I'm hoping that brother not that stupid, bro. Because the name of for one to be doing it is already stupid because you know that you just seen countless people get caught. So, like at this point, it ain't like weed or some shit, like beating a drug test or whatever. This a different thing. So,
Yeah.
so stay away from it. So, you know the consequences from it. So it's stupid to do it, but then to have it Malik Beasley, Deep Five or Detroit Five, I'm hope for the best, bro. I hope he ain't that stupid. I just hope so.
Well, we seen, how this affected Pete Rose for his whole life. Um, we also seen, oh God, what was the football player that just did it like last season? What was it? Wide receiver? Oh my God, someone just got in trouble for it in the NFL. I think before last season started.
Oh, for the legal betting,
Betting, yeah.
who was that? J-Mo, J-Mo,
James.
play for the Lions, Jameson
Yeah,
Williams.
Jameson Williams. So like we seen this ruin lives. Like, bro, you're making money. Like, that's one of the rules. Like, that's something that can get you banned for life. That's something that can get you in trouble, and hell, even locked up. Like, like honestly, So I hope he's innocent. For his sake. And guys, come on, players, come on. You already making money. If don't do it. Don't do it. It's not worth it. It's kind of like, I don't know if you guys remember back those, early 2000s Western Conference Finals, the Kings and the Lakers. I think it was 2002. They
Yes,
investigated
sir.
that ref team for that Western
Yeah,
Conference Finals for placing
Tim
bets.
Donaghy.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for placing bets on the
It's a
final.
whole documentary about that shit on Netflix.
I'm gonna have to check that out because the
Deep.
referees can definitely sway the game with calls. It's like, well, I bet he's gonna get this. Like, whoa, So what do you have to add to it, Raj?
I'm gonna keep it a stack with y'all, man. These MFers are gambling, bro. They gambling.
Ah,
All of, all of them. The way, the
refs
way
and
they
the
be
coaches too.
listen, I'm telling you this, man. From an average, for somebody that's always, trying to turn a dollar into, two. Somebody's always out there trying to make it happen with this FanDuel and DraftKings joint. Look, I know they're gambling out there. You can't tell me when you put money down on somebody, they turn into prime Michael Jordan out of nowhere. When it's their unders. And when it's time for them to really go and you really want them to score, they turn into the worst bench player on the whole entire team. And in fact, they go sightseeing for the whole entire game. So my point is this, gentlemen, I'm not shocked. I'm shocked that this is only one person that's being pointed out. There's thousands, and I'm talking about thousands of players that are participating in this stuff. Not only in just professional basketball, I'm talking about in all of professional sports. And you know how I know this? They do a commercial every other commercials about sports betting.
True.
So even subconsciously, there's people that saying, "Oh man, I'm sorry I messed up your parlay." I've heard him say that. I've heard Kevin Durant say that. So they are very well aware that they are out there performing and everything is connected to numbers. So don't get it twisted, man. I truly believe that he is involved in some type of scandal with this thing, man. Because if you look at some of the videos I've seen, you'll say, yeah, he's definitely gambling out there. Dude ran the ball in and just started doing some crazy stuff. Ran it all the way down the court and dunked it out of nowhere for no apparent reason during garbage time. Unbelievable, man. Unfreaking believable. But yeah, We'll see what
I
happens.
I I
Yeah.
I, I, I slightly disagree with you, Raj. Just slightly, bro. And the only
Okay.
reason why I'm slightly disagreeing and giving him the benefit of the doubt and saying that I think that he's innocent.
Mm-hmm.
Malik Beasley, 5, Detroit. You can't be that stupid.
But then
There's
again,
no way. In a
R&B,
contract year?
you
Raj,
know,
on a contract year?
I know, I get it, and I feel you on that. And I wrestled with this. I wrestled with this for almost 3 days. I've been thinking about this. I said, "Damn, do I really think he did it?"
And
But I'm gonna keep it real with
if
you.
it,
I'm gonna keep it
go
real.
ahead.
When you've been given a opportunity the way he been given an opportunity, I'm not saying that he didn't earn it like in NBA. Like I'm not saying he didn't earn his
Mhm.
NBA opportunity, but I'm saying like you know how it is with athletes. Some of them get preferences with a lot of things, right? You might be
Yeah.
thinking like, yo, they ain't gonna catch me.
Yep, that's yeah. Like it's like it's but that's the thought process of people.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'll give you an example with one of my old jobs. I knew a guy, right, who would he would find a way, like when I worked at Pepsi, you know the blue shells that the soda comes in, right?
Yeah.
Now,
Mm-hmm.
when you would do the invoice, you would have to mark how many of those you took. So, because the customer got charged for those. So, when they got charged for them, you had to give them back. You had to give them back, right? Well, there was a way within the handheld to put them in and it would create a difference in the money, right?
Mm.
So, like you could create like $20 here, $10 there, $10 there, and you could give them, they would get the right amount of credit, but it would create a difference and you would pocket the money. Well,
Mm-hmm.
one guy got caught. He had stolen over $7,000 in
Mm.
shells. And he got fired, but it's that mentality of, oh, it won't happen to me. It won't happen to me. You do it once here, once there, you probably won't get caught. But once you start doing it and you get complacent doing it, and then you're doing it again and again and again. You're like, I haven't been caught yet. I'm good at this.
Yeah.
And then boom, you get caught. The
Mm-hmm.
thing is, though, when you're, you know, famous, or people know you, or you're a notable figure, it's a lot easier to get caught because people are always in your business.
Right.
So that's just the toughness of it.
And, and you know what I respond to by saying respond to you with, Mike?
What's that?
Fumbling over my words, but my response is gonna be Malik Beasley, Detroit, 5. I don't give a fuck how complacent and comfortable you get, motherfucker. If you come back guilty and your account name was Malik Beasley, Detroit, 5, on a contract year, fuck out of here, bro.
But
Fuck out of
R&B,
here.
one thing I'm gonna say, I'll close it out on my end on this one with that. Did you know he's following FanDuel on his Instagram?
Oh gosh.
Just
These
go
young
look.
niggas ain't got no guidance. Drake and Chris Brown made no guidance 4 years ago or 5 years
Yo,
ago or some shit like
yo,
that. And
yo,
they
go
was
look.
talking about the bitches. Good God Almighty. We might have to do a remix for 2025 6 for that shit and bring it back about these niggas. These
Oh man,
YNs is out of their fucking mind, bro. I don't understand it.
go take a
I don't
look.
understand it, bro. I did not know he was
I'll pull it up. Hold
Mm-mm.
Man, that's fuck.
Let me show you.
You got to be a stupid motherfucker to get fired on your day off.
Look,
He is following FanDuel.
that's it. That's MBZ5. Following FanDuel. This dude he's a degenerate gambler, bro. He need help. He need to call that 1-800 number.
You know what though? In all seriousness, not even trying to be funny. If that were the case, I would have more compassion for him. If that were the case, if that were to be proven or something like that, I would have more compassion for him because that shit is literally a issue, an addiction or whatever. But if it's not the case, and you just a dumb YN, and you got
Look how fast he run up that court with 10 seconds on the clock. Why?
He trying to hit his numbers, so he
He
gets
hit
his
his overs. He tried to get his overs. The game was over. He ran down the court.
dunked. They let him go too.
It's the head nod for me, though. It's the head nod for me.
So could this possibly be something that they're saying is stemming from something in the past? When his past stops in the NBA.
Yeah. They saying that it's been questioned for a while. Like they've been investigating for a while. And once you know how it is when they come down to investigations.
Yeah.
They're keeping track records of everything.
The NBA think they the FBI and shit.
Yeah, they think they undefeated. They think the FBI. For real. So they probably had information on him since he got drafted, probably.
If you, I still, I don't know what to say, fellas. I just don't. I feel
I get
like
it.
nigga talking on a voicemail on a 1990s R&B interlude, stuttering on the female
Bro,
voicemail, getting her to come back and some shit. Because I just don't have
bro,
the
I
words
get it.
for this shit. Because it's
I
like if
get
you
it.
became that complacent and you know that this shit is illegal, you ain't smart enough to at least change your name. Do you know how dumb you look to get caught up in some shit like this and get found guilty and the name of your account was Malik Beasley, Detroit 5?
Detroit 5. Oh man.
Nah,
Yeah.
you're not letting it go. So, coming up to that 2-hour mark, we got to try and keep it under so I can make our clips. But I had to end it. I let y'all go first because the last set of topics I need to go first because I'm pissed off. The Steelers are really trying me this offseason. They really are. They're really pissing me off. Like, they just really, really are aggravating my soul. They're really just making me cringe. And they're really just like, why are you doing this to us, the fans? One of the most strong fan bases in the league. One of the most loyal fan bases in the league. You just really trying. You went out and you traded for DK Metcalf. All right, whatever. It is what it is. And then you went and allowed fraudulence onto the team.
Watch your mouth.
I ain't watching shit. I ain't watching
Watch your
shit.
mouth.
I ain't
Watch
watching
your fucking mouth.
This is my take,
Watch your fucking
motherfucker.
mouth.
This is my take. I ain't watching shit.
You watch your freaking mouth.
I ain't watching shit.
You.
You let fraudulence onto the team,
Bad man.
and then today you made a trade. But before we even get to the trade, I'm not even upset so much about the trade because I think
No.
in a way the other news pisses me off.
I gotta hear this other news then because that trade pissed me off.
But you see, since he's been in the league, TJ Watt has been one of the best defensive players in the league. One of the best. And you've decided to not give him what he deserves. Because the last time he was up for a contract, he signed a deal that I think he shouldn't have signed. As a fan, was I glad that he signed for 4 years, $112 million? Absolutely. But I believe that in these last 4 years, if memory serves correctly, I believe he tied the sack record, or was it the sack record? Or almost passed it. It's blurry because I'm so aggravated now. And you have decided that you're not going to give him what he wants. You're not going to he's an anchor to your defense. He's an anchor to the defense. You're not going to give him the money, or you're choosing right now to not give him the money. For what? For what? You think there's another TJ Watt, another pass rusher like that, another guy who can get to quarterbacks like that, who can anchor and rile up a defense like that? I don't think there is. And you're not going to give him his money. You're not going to pay him. You're just going to let him walk to the point to where now teams are reaching out to the Steelers to trade for him. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? This is what we're doing, Steelers. We're going to let this guy walk. We're going to lose him one way or another. I don't know how, but it's happening. He hasn't been at OTAs. He ain't been with the team. What's he doing? What are you doing to stop this? So that pissed me off. And then this trade. Now, see, I seen it at work, right? But I didn't see the whole thing. Like at first, I just seen Jonnu Smith because it was weird. What I seen was in 2 parts, and then it said Jalen Ramsey, and I'm like, all right, but what did we give up? I'm like, okay, we gave up a 5th round pick, and then I seen we gave up Minka, fucking Fitzpatrick, and I'm like, are we serious? Are we serious? I think he was great for us. My man was in that. He was in that zone. Now
He anchored some great defenses.
He wasn't
during his tenure.
He was there. May not have been Palomalu. There was only one of him, but damn it, he was fucking good. Now I told Raj.
Would you rank him over Ryan Clark during his tenure there? He definitely not Palomalu, but would you rank him over Ryan Clark during his tenure there? Or does Ryan Clark get the automatic nod over because he won a championship and went to another Super Bowl?
I wouldn't say he gets the automatic nod, but I think he's got an edge over him, because those defenses were like, this defense is good, but those defenses Ryan Clark were great.
But think of this is why I give Minka the nod, because in all respect to Ryan Clark, his name Ryan, you know what I'm saying? All respect to Ryan Clark. He played on great defenses surrounded by other great defenders. With these last few years, or since Mika been there, when they traded for him, since he been there in the Bengals backfield, it's been him and it's been TJ Watt. And then it's been a a Philly in here, Philly in there, cast of other players or whatever, that Minka and TJ have single-handedly been lifting that defense to be, what it was. Not saying that it come close to being anything that Ryan Clark them defense was,
I understand.
but I'm just looking at individual, what I'm saying, not necessarily stats, just individual production.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. And, before I let you guys go into it more, I'm okay with Jonnu Smith. He had some career numbers last year. Um, I do believe the Steelers make that move because with Rodgers going to be the starter and you don't know specifically what he's going to bring, you like to have that, as I call, bailout option for quarterbacks. You like to have that guy that's like 20 yards away that you can flick the ball to, right? I don't have an issue with that. Now with Ramsey, it's kind of like he's been weird the last few years, unhappy, miserable, if you will. And the other part of it is, he's this is his 10th season, I believe, going in, and he's not washed, but he's definitely on the declining side of his career. I'm not saying he can't make plays still, not saying he can't be effective, not saying that at all. But you've seen what Minka was still bringing to the table. Was Ramsey, was he hurt last year? I don't remember him playing too much.
He played.
Did he play? I know one of the years recent years he was hurt. But as a fan, this is just a monstrosity because I feel like the Steelers, in a sense, have, and they've gone out and said, I believe our GM went out there and said, like, with around the draft, like, yeah, we wanted, we're not worried about this year's draft because they got a lot of picks for next year's draft. So to me, it's just disrespectful that you've thrown the season away before it's even started. Like you've thrown it away with that statement to me because you're saying this season don't matter because you want to rebuild through the draft, or you're hoping to rebuild through the draft next season, after next season. It's just frustrating and aggravating. I don't like the trade all the way. I don't like that we haven't re-signed Watt. I don't like the quarterback situation, and that ain't even just Aaron Rodgers, that's just, I haven't liked the quarterback situation since Ben retired because they had no plan. They had no plan. Like they had no succession plan. They didn't even try. Even when you seen Ben was a statue and you noticed or even with the elbow injury, the season before that, he played phenomenal, but that was to say, okay, he missed the whole year. We should be thinking about a succession plan. They have not done that, and now they find themselves in this situation. And now you have an AFC North with Lamar, with Burrow. You have Josh Allen there. You have Patrick Mahomes. You got too much talent, in my opinion, to compete, to really compete the way you want to compete.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, you right, Mike. You right. I don't, as far as that trade, man, I just don't. I'm not a fan of Jalen Ramsey. Never have been, never will be. Sorry.
past couple
I think
years,
he's completely I think he's completely overrated. Even when he was healthy, I think he's completely overrated. That's just my opinion. Uh, just he's supposed to be, or at least at that time. Now, don't get me wrong. He was a dog, and I do respect and like that about him. The fact that he's a dog, but I always felt like he was just so overrated because everybody always was trying to put him as like, oh, he's a top three or one of the best corners in the league, but yet you would see him get burnt on a consistent basis.
yeah.
I used to see Jalen Ramsey, gets burnt on a consistent basis, bro. Top lockdown, true top lockdown corners don't get burnt consistently. Del Rivas got burnt here and there. He didn't get burnt consistently. Deion Sanders got burnt here or there. And it would still be tough as fuck for them to catch it because of his speed and his recovering ability, but he didn't get burnt consistently. So it's just I don't I just I've never really thought Jalen Ramsey was all that in the trade Minka Fitzpatrick away. Like I I don't understand that move at all. To me, I thought the defense was looking solid. You guys brought in Darius Slay. You know what I'm saying? You still had Minka. I know everything going on with TJ Watt, but you gotta think at some point if they smart that they're gonna get that shit figured out because this dude is one of the top 3 or 5 defenders in the NFL. Unless
Absolutely.
you're dumb as Malik Beasley, Detroit 5. You need to get that situation rectified with TJ Watt, flat out. But I thought the defense was in a good place, and to trade Minka like that out of nowhere, I'm like, I don't know, man. So we just have to see, bro, because that was a when I read that, I was like, what? They traded Minka Fitzpatrick? Like, what the fuck are they doing for Jalen Ramsey, Mister Overrated? Oh, and they in the AFC. And that conference, man, they might have a hard time with those receivers. Darius Slay is definitely going to be heavily leaned upon on that defense because I see Jalen Ramsey getting attacked because people I don't think people fear him like that. That's just my opinion.
What you got to add to that everything, Raj?
Well, I just wanted to say real quick that sometimes when teams don't really see a way to a AFC championship or NFC championship, they kind of go through a what I call a soft rebuild. And when they brought on Aaron Rodgers, I kind of sensed that as being the case anyway. Because you got to remember, there's 2 aspects to this business. There's the actual business aspect of selling merch and actually getting fans into the seat, and then there's winning. Actually winning the championships and going out there and being competitive. So I think if they can accomplish a little bit of both, be able to bring a few stars on and, of course, be a little bit competitive, at least make it to the playoffs, they probably feel like that's enough. And a lot of franchises do that. You watch a lot of teams like the 49ers. They have done it for many, many years, kind of spin their tires a little bit when it comes down to finding talent and trading for talent that's kind of questionable and head scratching. But in this case, it's been one of them cases where we know that, the Pittsburgh Steelers go 8-8 every single season, or, they go close to 8-8. They do what they do. They're the most consistent team when it comes down to that kind of stuff. But with
Right.
that being said, you also got to kind of taper your expectations too. It's like, okay, so what do we expect from them for the season? Do we expect a real true playoff run, or do you just expect them just to being able to be just relevant enough to just get to the playoffs? So we'll see what happens, man. I don't think they're done. I think they still got some more to add. I do 100% agree that they need to re-sign TJ Watts and bring him back because he's a lifeline of the defense. I think he's very, very, very
Especially
important.
after you traded Minka.
Yeah. So something got to give. They got to figure it out. And I also believe that Aaron Rodgers, low key saying that he wants to retire this season, is also going to be playing in the back of everyone's minds too, because they got to find a quarterback. And the only way you find a quarterback that you can help for the next 3 to 5 years is what? Through the draft. So
Damn.
don't be surprised if they don't go out there and make the playoffs this season, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're out of it, but they're not in it either. I don't think they're fully out, but I don't think they're fully in. Um,
Yeah.
Obviously, they'll be competitive, but it's just one of those things where we're gonna have to wait and see. So, one of the things R&B had on the list was you wanted to do early Super Bowl predictions. And who do you predict will go to the Super Bowl this season?
Man, NFC, I got the Eagles going back. I don't really see a team actually competing with them. So the NFC is definitely they're going to go. For the AFC, now it's a toss up, but I gotta. I mean, even though I don't really believe it, but I'm going to say it because I want to see it happen. I gotta go with the other bird team. I gotta go with the Ravens. You know, the Ravens have been like one of those teams where they've been so good, but not good enough. And I really want to see the Ravens make it because they got all the pieces that they need to get over the hump, but they just need to just actually do it. So that's my Super Bowl pick.
Ravens and Eagles.
Yes.
What about you, R&B? I'm still kind of deciding in a way here. Detroit and who?
Detroit versus everybody. And Malik Beasley.
Lions Steelers.
Lions Steelers?
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
Lions maybe. Steelers no.
Give me Detroit stand up. Lions Raven.
That sounds good.
Lions Ravens. Lamar Jackson breaks Detroit's heart and finally gets his first Super Bowl.
Oh man.
Damn. Breaks your heart along with it.
Yep.
You know, it's about time that someone else takes the reins, I think. I do believe that the Chiefs will win another Super Bowl. I do believe that. But it ain't going to be this season. I do believe, though, they go back to the Invitational. That's a given. Till someone takes them out before then, I'll always pick them to go to the Invitational. However, I don't have a issue or with the Ravens. You saying the Ravens? But I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna go with Buffalo.
You know you want to say Steelers.
What did you say?
You know you want to say the Steelers.
Nah.
Not
I'm
this season.
No.
Not
any season while I'm alive, probably again.
Say the Steelers, Mike.
So I'm gonna go with the with Buffalo, but I think Philly lost a lot still. I mean, yeah, you got Saquon.
Yeah, they lost a lot.
You know,
on defense.
Hurts, you know, but I don't know if they can really do it. So I'm gonna go with Detroit. I have some weird being inside of me to say Green Bay for some reason. But I do believe that Detroit after last season will come out with a vengeance and show that they were the team that they're going to show us who they were all season. Last season, they're going to want to show that again and more. They got a lot going for them. You know, did they make any really crazy moves or anything? Because they don't really need much.
We
they have
pick up
maybe some defense.
We did pick up a defensive player, one of Philly's dudes, a dude who was with Philly. I can't think of his name though.
Yeah, a lot of movement, but I do believe I'm gonna go with Buffalo and Detroit.
I liked our draft too.
Draft good.
Yeah, did y'all seen Tulsa? The what they call them Vanillatron.
Oh yeah. And I also believe that Detroit will utilize Laporta better. because I didn't like in his first season he was off the chart. They utilized him good. Last season, just I don't know. He just didn't seem like he was in their game plan. I don't know how to really word it. I mean, I believe in the second season slump, but it just looked like there weren't as many plays for him.
Yeah,
I
he
you
had
know
some knickknacks this year too.
absolutely. Oh, he left. He left or got kicked out again. Yo, tonight's episode's been
Yeah,
wild.
we got 5 minutes.
Yep. So you guys know we're at the 1 hour 55. I like to try and keep it under 2 so this thing makes those clips for me. Is there anything else that you guys want to cover really quick before we sign off?
We'll talk about the draft next week, but I do want to say I was very very happy with how the draft went.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, yeah. We can. I don't know if we can squeeze in a report about it this week. I know your schedule's night, so but worst case, maybe Sunday morning or something. That way, while it's still semi-fresh, or whatever, we'll figure it out. Um, but R&B, you got anything you wanted to just go over that's quick before we sign off here?
Yeah, man. Shouts out to that boy Charles Oliveira or Oliveira. He got his ass knocked out in the first round the other night to let old
Mm.
boy go be undisputed. I think in 3 different divisions now. So yeah,
Ugh.
he said he felt disrespected because people was picking old boy and he's the bigger fighter, and then he went in there and got disrespected.
Mm.
Oh man. Well, that's it for tonight. We want to thank everyone for tuning in. This
Yes, sir.
is we're here. We'll be back next week to talk about some
Stop
more.
the slander.
You know, so everyone stay up, be positive, be better, and like I say, always say, be be better than you were yesterday, but be prepared to be better tomorrow than you are today. Guys, I'll leave it to you to close.
That's it,
Stop the
man. See
slander.
everybody.
Stop the hate.
Yes, please.
All right. Everyone be safe, be happy, stay alive, stay up. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Peace.